To another bogus ticket agency. The latest scam involves tickets for next week's concert in Ipswich by the boy band JLS. Let's get the details now from Gareth George, who is in Ipswich. Gareth.
Well, if you're buying concert tickets online, then here's some advice. Before you do anything, contact the venue and find out who the official ticket agents are, because if you don't, you could end up in a report like this.
Let's just get back together. We should have never broke up.
JLS performing on the Top of the Pops Christmas special. If you're a teenage girl, you may now be feeling a weakening at the knee.
JLS will be performing on this stage at the Ipswich Regent Theatre on Monday night, but some of their dedicated fans will miss out after falling victim to an internet scam.
Every season we have a number of artists who are the current flavour of the month. With JLS there's a certain amount of hysteria surrounding them, and I think when there is hysteria around artists, people perhaps do desperate things that they might not normally do in the cold light of day.
Oh, is that on the X Factor?
Yeah.
Sally Fisher bought JLS tickets for her daughter and a friend as a Christmas present, but the website was bogus.
Virtually, as soon as she opened the envelope on Christmas Day, she was jumping up and down with excitement, really, really happy. So, you know, I feel like I've really sort of destroyed a bit of a dream, really, for her, but unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it.
Trading Standards say the boom in internet ticket sales is being exploited by the fraudsters.
Yes, internet crime is increasing day by day. It's very easy for people to hide behind websites, to set websites up and rip people off, basically.
When Sean Gilvey from Norwich mistakenly bought JLS tickets from a dodgy website, Budapest appeared on his bank statement.
It wasn't so much about the money, it wasn't about anything other than my anger at, hang on, I have been conned, and these people are just nasty pieces of work. You know, to do this kind of thing is nasty.
We did, like, spend a lot of money on the tickets, and we don't really think we ever could afford any more, so, yeah, we don't really know what's going to happen.
And the next gig is in December, so that's, like, a really long wait.
Back in Colchester, the website Sally Fisher was conned by is now being investigated by police. But it means these JLS fans might have to make do with their books.
But unusually for a news story, this one has a happy ending, because those JLS fans will go to the ball. Partly thanks to Lakeith, they've got some hands on some tickets that were returned to the box office.
Great news. Thank you very much, Gareth.
A gang of ram raiders has crashed into a bank in Downham Market to rob a cash machine. They used a green and grey Daihatsu 4x4 to ram through the front of the Lloyds TSB in Bridge Street. They got away with several £1,000s. The owners of a farm shop in Suffolk, which was damaged by fire, say they will reopen at the weekend. The fire at the Suffolk Food Hall in Worsted came just hours after it won a national award. The directors have paid tribute to the way people have pulled together to get the shop back in business. The University of East Anglia, which is involved in a row over climate change and stolen emails, has been found to have broken the law. It's emerged the Climategate Research Unit breached the Freedom of Information Act by refusing to hand over some data. The university has now disclosed that some of the information contained in emails had also been deleted. Well, the man who made the request under the Freedom of Information Act is David Holland, a retired engineer from Northampton. He's also sceptical about some of the claims made by the climate change body at the UN, the IPCC. And when I spoke to him this afternoon, he told me why he wanted the information.
What I'm saying is that the conclusion of Working Group 1, which is that it's warmer now than it's ever been for 1,300 years, is not justified by the science. They knew it. But they changed the procedure in order to be able to quote a paper which they shouldn't have quoted.
So you were hoping if you got that information it would help you prove what?
Well, it would help me to show that the IPCC is not a reliable organisation for assessing science of climate change, as it stands now.
And do you believe that the University of East Anglia and the Climategate Research Unit is withholding that information on purpose?
I do now. I mean, until recently, I had no evidence that they actually did delete the things that they said they were going to do. But as of 2 days ago, the University of East Anglia have actually sent a further letter to me in which they acknowledge that the emails were indeed deleted. I mean, that's something we couldn't say for sure until very recently. But it does tie up with what the Information Commissioner has said, that he now knows they have broken the law.
If you had that information, what would you be doing with it now if that information supported what you believe is the truth?
Well, I'd be discussing it with the Select Committee on Science at the House of Commons.
So, can you reapply to get this information again now?
It isn't necessary. The request is in. The police have it. The Information Commissioner is looking into the matter. When the police finally let it go, the Information Commissioner will look and see, is it environmental information? I'm absolutely certain it is. And will instruct its release, I hope.
Mr. Holland, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, this afternoon, the University of East Anglia issued a statement which said if it had breached the terms of the Freedom of Information Act, it was a source of grave concern to the university, and that during the case, it had sought advice from the Information Commissioner.
A pet bull which became trapped in a village pond had to be rescued by firefighters in Essex. The 20-year-old animal fell into the pond on Magpie Lane in Little Worley near Brentwood. East Anglia is the hardest region outside of London to recruit head teachers, with some local authorities having to re-advertise posts more than 3 times. More than half the vacancies for heads had to be re-advertised in Essex and Cambridgeshire. For Norfolk, it was only slightly lower. In Suffolk, the rate was 37%. Alex Dunlop reports.
We start with a story of 2 schools run by just one woman. One solution, perhaps, to the shortage of head teachers. The start of the day at Hevingham Primary in Norfolk and at Marsham Primary just 2 miles away. Before this partnership, being a head was even harder work.
The workload can be excessive because you still have the same number of jobs to do, whereas when you work in partnership, we can all take on very specific roles across the partnership, so we're sort of distributing the jobs across a wider base.
So why are head teachers so hard to come by? Well, we've plenty of small rural schools in the east, and they can't afford big salaries. Some heads leave the region for bigger urban schools which can pay more. And here is the second and perhaps biggest reason: paperwork and, well, more paperwork.
Well, this is my in-tray, Kim. Some of it's going to be very important, some of it is a waste of space.
Cambridgeshire head teacher Kevin Bullock on Look East recently. He says he's bound by red tape and the remorseless drive of league tables. One teaching union says the solutions are straightforward. Schools shouldn't be so target-driven. Education is too narrowly focused. And it should be more about leadership, it argues, less about management.
Lots of schools will end up with acting head teachers, and a long period of an acting head is not necessarily good for the development of the school. We're particularly anxious about faith schools, where, generally speaking, they find it more difficult to get head teachers.
For now, many deputy heads are in effect playing pontoon, sticking with their current job rather than sticking their neck out by taking on a headship. Alex Dunlop, BBC Look East.
You know, sometimes when you're 16 or 17, the world can appear to be a tough place, especially these days.